Hey everyone, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unlocking the truly fascinating world of programming and discovering the language that is literally shaping our modern digital landscape. Before we even think about writing a single line of code, we really need to ask ourselves a fundamental question. How do we actually talk to the technology of tomorrow? Things like artificial intelligence. Well, if you want to build an AI app, you absolutely need a programming language to speak its native tongue. So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll hit 4 key areas: the language of computers, why choose Python, interactive mode explained, and finally, writing Python scripts. Let's start with section 1, the language of computers. Think about it like this. Human languages rely on words and grammar to get a point across, right? Well, a programming language operates the exact same way. It gives us the formal vocabulary and the grammatical rules we need to string together instructions. And when we gather a sequence of those instructions to make a computer do a specific task, we call that a program. Now, there are a ton of different languages out there: Basic, Pascal, C, Ruby, but we're zeroing in on one in particular today. Which brings us to section 2, why choose Python? If you look at the whole AI landscape, you actually aren't limited to just one language. You could definitely build AI apps using older staples like Lisp or Prolog, or heavy hitters like C++ and Java. But Python? Python has just skyrocketed in popularity here, easily outpacing the competition. And our source material outlines 6 core reasons behind this massive popularity. First off, it's super approachable. The syntax is really simple to read and maintain, and it's got an interactive mode for instant testing. But don't let the simplicity fool you. It is incredibly powerful. It boasts a huge standard library packed with built-in functions. It's totally portable across different systems, and you can scale it way up for commercial databases or even extend it downward with low-level modules. Let's talk about that portability for a second. Python is a true cross-platform language. That basically means as long as you have the Python interpreter installed on your machine, you can write and run your code seamlessly across almost any operating system. We're talking running natively on Windows, macOS, Linux. It's even been ported over to Java and .NET virtual machines. Moving right along, section 3, interactive mode explained. So, let's break down the 2 primary ways you can actually use Python. First up is interactive mode. Just like it sounds, it lets you directly interact with the operating system. It's a total game changer for beginners because you can test small chunks of code and get evaluated instantly, line by line. On the flip side, we have script mode. That's what you use when you want to create, edit, save, and reuse your code later in source files. They serve totally different workflow purposes, but the cool thing is, the final result spit out by the Python interpreter is exactly the same either way. Let's think about that interactive mode in action in the IDLE environment. When you boot it up, you'll see 3 little right-pointing arrows. That's the Python prompt, and it's literally just waiting for your command. It's kind of like a superpowered calculator. If you feed it 3 plus 10, it evaluates it and prints 13 instantly on the very next line. Type 2 plus 4 times 10, boom, you get 42. But it's not just for math, it handles text perfectly too. If you pass the words "Hello Learner" into a print function, it immediately echoes it right back to you. It's this rapid-fire loop. It reads your code, evaluates it, and prints the result. Simple as that. Next up, section 4, writing Python scripts. Now, in script mode, you're not just firing single random lines into the void. You're building a full Python script, or a program. This is basically a collection of statements written in a very specific logical sequence to solve a bigger problem. You type it all into a file, which means you can edit it, save it, reuse it whenever you want, and then hand that entire file over to the interpreter to run straight from top to bottom. To actually build one of these complete scripts, we just logically sequence a few basic steps. We assign data to what we call variables. We manipulate that data using math operations, and then we use print commands to spit out the final results. Let's pretend we're the interpreter reading a basic script right now from top to bottom. First, we print a quick hello. Next, we give the computer some memory to hold on to. We assign the word Sam to a variable we'll call name. Then we print the word learner. And hey, if you add a special end argument that's just an empty string, that basically tells Python, hey, don't drop down to a new line yet. Because of that, when the very next line prints our name variable, Sam tucks in right next to learner on the exact same line. Pretty neat, right? Finally, we assign the number 50 to a variable A and 300 to a variable B, which lets us dynamically multiply them later to output 15,000. The script just perfectly remembers all that data you gave it.
all the way to the very end. Okay, now that you've got a handle on both modes and how Python reads instructions, our source material has some awesome little exercises for you to test out yourself in the interactive shell. For example, you could try calculating the average of 3 grades using parentheses, 75 plus 85 plus 65, divided by 3. Or maybe find the area of a circle with 22/7 times 5 times 5. You can even play around with text. Try adding Ravi and Kant together with a plus sign to see how Python sticks words together. Oh, and here's a really fun quirk. See what happens when you multiply the string of 3 hashtags by the number 3. Spoiler alert, Python actually lets you do math on text to repeat it. No way, right?
AI and the whole future of tech fundamentally demand a shared vocabulary so we can communicate with it. Python gives us exactly that, and it does it with incredible simplicity and power. Look, you already know how to assign variables, do some math, and print results. So the real question for you is, once you've totally mastered these basics, what real-world problems are you going to use Python to solve next? Go ahead, open up that interactive mode and take your first step. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.